Well, thanks to a U.S. Supreme Court ruling striking down parts of the Defense of Marriage Act and the implementation of the Affordable Health Care Act, business owners across the nation may be facing a huge headache. The High Court's ruling and that new law will usher in a host of tax changes, and the headache will be in the retroactive portions employers are going to have to deal with. Those headaches are also going to affect people like Kim Ford here, CPA tax expert with Hill & Ford, and it is going to be a problem, probably already is a headache for you, just even understanding, reading, catching up on the changes.
Absolutely, and we don't even have all the regulations yet. We've gotten one round of regulations, but we know that there's going to be more because the IRS says there'll be more.
How much of a headache is it going to be for employers?
Well, for employers, we're just understanding it, especially here in Texas, because in Texas, the same-sex marriages are not recognized. And so therefore, in the beginning, the thought was, well, maybe we don't even have to deal with it in Texas. But the answer is that we do, because the federal laws affect all of our businesses under health care issues, retirement plan issues, and those kinds of things. Any kind of employee benefits that are mandated under federal laws, we have to deal with the new rulings under the Windsor case, which is the case that was decided.
I thought it was interesting, we were talking during the break though, but same-sex couples are not necessarily going to have to file amended tax returns because of that marriage tax penalty. They're not going to have to pay in if they did owe under that act.
That's right.
Law.
Well, and it's long been held that no one has to amend a tax return, and therefore that's in the regulations as well.
On the employers' end, as far as health care and everything else now, they're going to, under the Affordable Care Act, they're going to have to offer those benefits to same-sex married employees.
Correct. And basically what the Supreme Court ruling did was it changed the definition of marriage, and it changed the definition of spouse. And that's what's really huge, because in the IRS code, the words spouse and marriage are mentioned thousands of times, and so that whole definition has changed, and so every time those words are used, we have to look at the new definition, and that's the conversation that has to be had with all of the employees, especially for retirement benefits regarding distributions and survivor benefits and all of those kinds of things.
Let's say a couple, same-sex couple, work for the same employer.
Okay.
And they've both been holding their own policies because it's cheaper sometimes to obviously to have a family policy as opposed to two separate policies. Can they go back retroactively, or how far back retroactively can they go to maybe recoup some of that health care cost?
Well, the health care cost really can't be recouped retroactively. The only thing that could be dealt with is the employer taxes on the employer side, the Social Security and Medicare that have been paid in that didn't need to be paid in before. And the employer has a 3-year window to go back and amend old payroll tax reports to get money back there.
So it might actually benefit an employer in that case?
It sure might.
You could go back and get money back from them?
Yes, you can.
What's the biggest issue? What's going to be the hardest thing to deal with? I guess from a tax preparer, a CPS point of view, for you.
Well, for us, we just have to ask the questions. You know, do you have a same-sex partner? And and it's not just about a partner. It's a legal marriage. So it's not a domestic relationship. It has to be a legal marriage in a jurisdiction that respects those legal marriages.
Is there something that perhaps those couples are going to look at and go, oh, well, maybe this isn't such a good thing after all?
They might, because there is the thing called a marriage penalty, and you know, the opposite sex couples that have been in America have been dealing with that for a long time, and so it's not an easy answer. I will tell you that. Have
you been getting questions about it?
Not too many. It's also new. I think everybody's just really starting to wake up to it.
Yeah, probably next year it'll hit harder than this year.
Absolutely, but there are some things that happen that really go into effect on Monday with retirement plans. So the employers are the ones that really have to deal with it right now.
All right, Kim, thanks for coming in this morning. Appreciate it. It is interesting to see how it's going to develop.